Thanks for joining me again today, and today we're going to continue the decking build. So in the last video we stripped out all the old decking and just sweeping up the plastic where it stops the weeds coming through and growing through the decking. So I've laid out the wood of where it's going to go in a square, so that's going to all have to be squared up, just trying to make sure that the ground's flat, because this new decking is going to be a lot wider than where the old decking was, and the ground is going to need some digging out to get it all flat and level. I've dug it all down and screwed in the corners of where the wood's going to go and leveled it off, but the trouble is, garden is on such a deep slope, there's no way I can dig it all down. I've just got to try and get it as level as I can. I'm thinking I've got to put pegs in the corner to hold it up, so I think I'm going to stake all the corners to get a flat level surface, and I'm going to have to put some more of the weed membrane down as well. I had some bags of concrete, so I put some breeze blocks, got an old flower pot, put it underneath, got it to the right level and filled it up with the concrete to set it in the corners to give it some stability at the front, because I know it's going to be under a lot of weight at the front, because it's actually 3 blocks, breeze blocks high up at the front to get it level. There's that much of a drop, and I've done the same in the other corner, concreted a block in. I'm still going to stake it though. So I've marked out the middle of all of it and worked out how many spacings I'm going to need, and marked out and measured through the width between each bit of timber between that's going to take the weight. And to hold it level, I've got another little bit of wood, just screwed it into there so it can sit on the top, and it just makes it easier for me to move it about left and right and screw it in. Yeah, they're tan up. I've just been repeating the process, getting them all in, using this technique with putting it on one end and then screwing it in the other end and lining it all up, and we're getting them all in to make it sturdy, so there's going to be no bounce in there and every panel is going to be supported. Don't know what type she meant, they all look the same to me. I've been cutting all my stakes and putting the stakes in, so next to each one I've put it in, and it can be screwed in either, if it's at the end, like through the back here and from the side, so it's supported both. In the corners I've put extra long ones in and tried to get them as far in the ground as I could. Some I put in and cut off, but then the rest I've all done the same sort of size. Now I've cut all the noggins and we're putting them in staggered, one next to the other. They was all the same size because we measured it, what made it much easier, and they just screwed in 2 screws on each side to hold it all in place and make it really strong. So we're getting quite far into it now. We've got quite a lot of them noggins in. It's been a lot of hard work kneeling down, getting them in. I didn't show in my video, but I have been checking its level, checking each bar's level, but what we did is also made it sure it was square, measuring from corner to corner to make sure you get an even measurement, because like I say, this one's really high because the garden's so sloped, so it's a lot higher than I wanted it to be. But at the back you can see it's right on the ground, but at the front we've got a big high bit. But I'm really happy with how it's coming along. We've got to just keep finishing it off, get the rest of these noggins down, get these cut, and hopefully you can't really see how big it is. It doesn't look as big as it is on the video, it looks smaller, but it is a big area for the pergola to go on. So now I've finished putting in all the struts, the bracings between, but I'm still going to have to put some stakes all throughout just to support the weight of however many people you're going on. I don't want it bending or moving, so every other one or every couple on each side I'm going to stake it all. I've already staked the edges as I showed you before, but all throughout, but I'm really happy with that. That's coming along nicely. Start lining up the boards, get some long planks and start screwing them in as well after I've staked it. So I've just got to take off the shuttering where I did the concrete pillar in the corner. Like I say, it probably would have been okay with just the stakes, but I thought it would be a little bit more skill since I had the concrete to dig a hole and just put some concrete stakes in there, and all round it I just shuttered it in with bits of wood and poured in the concrete, and now it's dried. Just taking it all off. As this is my highest point, I just thought I would add another stake in there, try and get it maybe 5-6 inches in the ground. So this is me just hammering it in. The plastic, it just butts through the plastic. I should have cut the plastic really, but it's solid clay underneath, so it's a bit hard going, but it will go in. And when I've got that nice and level, so make sure the board's not going to sit on it below the edge, I'll screw that one in place. We're a bit further back, so the stake doesn't have to be as long as the other one, but we still try to get a good 5-6 inches in there. And with this one, instead of the corner one, I've actually got some scissors and just making a little square around there to make it easier to go through the weed proofing stuff membrane. Just looking for my hammer. Here we go, let's knock this one in, put it in the corner, try and get it nice and square onto both of them, and hammer that one into the ground. Now that it's in line and level, we just drill our 2 pilot holes and then posi drive in the screw, make sure it's all nice and tight in there. Yeah, and that's coming along nicely now. As you can see, I've put extra stakes in everywhere. I can walk on it, it's all solid, there's no bouncing or movement on it anywhere. I've realised I had made a mistake where I used the plant pot on this side. I didn't remember that the step is going to go over there. So the board is wider than the other bit of wood that's on there. So I'm having to get the grinder and grinder it all flat, otherwise the step won't attach flat. So I've got my glasses on this side, the protective eyewear that I don't normally wear, but I thought this time there could be some rocks and dust, as you can see, flying everywhere. And we're going to grinder it off on both sides, because there's actually going to be a step all the way round on this one, and we've got to just cut into it and grind it off. This old concrete works a lot better than I thought it did. It doesn't want to break up, so I've tried cutting it, trying hitting it with a hammer. Just got to keep grinding it off bit by bit, and hopefully it'll come off. So I've cut it in stripes and then trying to hit them off with a hammer. Just got to get it lower than where the board's going to go, and then the rest should just come off, hopefully. Now that's all been removed, on the front where the boards are going to attach to, I've cut some noggins and put them in, so the back post where I put the post is going to sit flush on the front. So now it's time for the decking boards to go on the top. So on mine, because it's so large and it's the same size, I'm going to have a join where the decking boards are going to sit on one beam on one side and the other. So I just put a line down the middle, and I give myself a couple of mil in the middle, so to get the end of the board right on the beam, so each one can sit half and half on the beam. Then I'm just going along, screwing them down onto where all the joins are, making sure they're screwed in and I haven't missed them. So you could mark them, but because you can see where they're going to go pretty much, just try and keep them in a straight line. And I also counted on these particular ones the grooves to get them in the same grooves. You didn't have to put two screws in every board, you could have missed some, but while I'm doing it I might as well just put extra screws in, make sure it's more secure. So I just got the set square, and instead of just marking out and carrying on doing the lines, I just got the set square, put it in halfway in line with where the beams was, and that seems to work just as well. So I've managed to do this corner to hold back the rose bushes. I've just got a few of the old decking boards there to lay out just loose, because it's a bit awkward to keep balancing it. And it's coming along nicely. That's not much bigger than the old decking used to be. A few more panels, it would be about the same size as the old one. So it's just the same thing over and over. I've drilled all the pilot holes and just putting the screws a little bit at a time, and then just posi driving them all in. I don't know if this is easier than doing one at a time, but it's less switching over between the drill and the posi drive. So I've nearly completed the first side. We're only another about 2 boards away from completing the first side. I've attached the first fascia board of where the steps going to go. It's a great big long one all the way along that I actually got delivered to try and do it in one piece. So that's the first side done, and down the left hand side I've also put another fascia at the end there as long, but that's a smaller one. So we've got all the old decking here, and I've had to cut it in to the length we want because it was all longer than the space we've got. I mean, the price of the wood and the decking is gone through the roof, but I'm hoping once I jet wash the old stuff down and paint it, it is fine because it looks okay. So now that's all cut and screwed in nice, it doesn't make too much difference. The pattern's a tiny little bit different, but once the pergola's on there and that, you're not going to see anyway. So that's it, all screwed down nice and level now. A few touches up round the side to do. So now I've got to design and build the front step. Most people won't do this, it's only that mine's so high it would have been too much to step up in one go, so I've done it with maybe one step, or I might put another little step as well. I think one step should be fine. So it's time to jet wash it all down. I've gone over it and got the top surface off. Now I want to do a more thorough one and clean the rest of it up. Let's get jet washing while it's sunny. And there you have it, all nice and clean, all jet washed down, and in a day or two that should be thoroughly dry and I can start painting it. But building the rest of the septine into the shed and all that will be in another video. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of hard work, and see you in another video.
Thanks for joining me today, and remember, God wins. So may God the Creator always be with you.